According to Durtech Business Research and Consulting, the air-cooled condensers market is projected to expand from $1 billion in 2024 to $1.3 billion by 2030, demonstrating a compound annual growth rate (CAGR) of 4.0% over the forecast period, 2024-2030. The air-cooled condensers market is poised for significant growth, driven by the demand for energy-efficient and environmentally friendly cooling solutions. Additionally, with governments and regulatory bodies worldwide pushing for energy-efficient practices, the adoption of air-cooled condensers has seen a marked increase. These regulations are prompting companies to invest in technologies that meet energy efficiency standards, further bolstering the market's.
What if I told you the next geopolitical battle isn't over oil, it isn't over semiconductors, and it isn't even over artificial intelligence? It's over something almost nobody talks about: the cooling system inside power plants. Today, one procurement decision in India could influence billions of dollars in manufacturing investment, energy security, global supply chains, and industrial sovereignty. Because when countries build infrastructure, they are also deciding who controls the future. Hi, this is Indraneel and welcome to the Spotlight Media and Technology, where we decode the world's biggest business, policy and sustainability stories through the ESG lens. Most people think electricity is generated by turbines. That's only half the story. Every thermal power station also needs an efficient cooling system. One of the most advanced technologies used today is the Air-Cooled Condenser or ACC. Unlike traditional cooling towers that consume enormous quantities of water, ACC systems use air to condense steam back into water. This dramatically reduces water consumption. In countries facing increasing water stress, this technology has become strategically important. Now consider this. India plans to add around 80 gigawatt of new thermal power capacity over the coming years. Industry estimates suggest this expansion could require nearly 100 new ACC systems. This represents billions of dollars in engineering and manufacturing opportunities, which is why this debate has become so important. Several leading Indian manufacturers including Paharpur Cooling Towers, Enexio Power Cooling and Holtec Asia have approached India's Prime Minister's office, the Ministry of Power and the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Their request is straightforward: review a recent exemption that allows suppliers from countries sharing a land border with India, including China, to participate in procurement for air-cooled condenser system in certain government thermal power projects. The exemption related to sourcing by BHEL for specific critical inputs. The manufacturers argue that this exemption could weaken India's domestic manufacturing ecosystem at a time when demand is expected to grow significantly. Importantly, this is not an allegation of wrongdoing by any supplier, nor has the government announced any policy reversal. At this stage, it remains an industry representation seeking a policy review. Indian manufacturers say one major issue is how government procurement evaluates bids. Lowest price often becomes the deciding factor. But they argue infrastructure procurement should consider much more. Questions such as what is the total life cycle cost? How reliable is project execution? What happens if global supply chains are disrupted? How much foreign exchange leaves the country? Can domestic manufacturers continue investing in research and development? Can local industries generate skilled employment? These questions have become increasingly relevant after the COVID-19 pandemic exposed global supply chain vulnerabilities. Manufacturers also point to another important issue: reciprocity. They argue that Indian companies often face restrictions when bidding for government procurement opportunities in some overseas markets. So should India automatically offer unrestricted access if reciprocal opportunities don't exist? This debate extends far beyond one technology. It reflects a broader global conversation on industrial policy. This isn't unique to India. Across the world, countries are becoming more strategic about critical infrastructure. The United States has expanded domestic manufacturing incentives through industrial policy. Europe has introduced initiatives to strengthen strategic industries and supply chains. Japan and South Korea continue investing heavily in industrial resilience. Governments increasingly recognize that resilience sometimes carries a higher upfront cost but may reduce long-term economic and geopolitical risk. The question is no longer simply who can manufacture cheapest. It's becoming who can manufacture reliably, sustainably, and strategically. From the Spotlight Media and Technologies ESG perspective, this story is not about choosing between domestic and international suppliers. It's about building responsible, resilient, and future-ready infrastructure. The environmental dimension reminds us that air-cooled condenser technology can reduce water consumption, an increasingly valuable advantage in water-stressed regions. The social dimension highlights the importance of creating high-skilled manufacturing jobs, strengthening local industrial ecosystems, and supporting long-term economic development. And the governance dimension asks perhaps the most important question. Should public procurement focus only on the lowest upfront price, or should it also account for life cycle value, strategic resilience, transparency, reciprocity, and long-term national capability? These are governance decisions that will shape industrial competitiveness for decades. As countries compete for leadership in energy, manufacturing, and technology, infrastructure is becoming the new frontier of geopolitics. The winners won't necessarily be those who manufacture the cheapest. They will be those who build the most resilient, sustainable, transparent, and trusted industrial ecosystems. Because in the 21st century, energy security is industrial security. Industrial security is economic security. And increasingly, economic security is ESG security. This is exactly why we believe ESG is no longer just a reporting framework. It has become a strategic framework for governments, investors, and business worldwide. If you enjoyed this analysis, subscribe to the Spotlight Beyond Profession for more fact-based insights on ESG, global policy, business, technology, and sustainability. And if you are navigating energy transition, ESG strategy, manufacturing, or infrastructure transformation at your organization, we help companies with ESG strategy and communication. Link in the description. Until next time, stay informed, stay responsible, and keep looking beyond the headlines. Thank you very much for watching and signing it off.